The situation is continuing to get worse, and we expect it to continue to get worse over the next number of months because there's no rain due until much later into the year.
Paul, how many people are affected at the moment?
Well, across the region there is over 12.5 million people, and so by the region we're talking about South Ethiopia, almost the whole of Somalia, and then the northeastern part of Kenya. So around 12.5 million people in total, and this situation is going to continue between now and the end of this year.
Paul, I know there's been quite a significant amount of political unrest there at the moment. How difficult is it for aid agencies like Concern to get supplies in and to get to people in need?
Well, from Concern's perspective, we have been working in Somalia for the last 25 years, and we've built up a very strong relationship with the communities and with the different authorities in the areas where we're working. So we already have existing relationships with people and with the authorities, so therefore we are allowed to work in many of those areas where some of the other agencies, including the United Nations, are not allowed because of the political nature of the UN. They haven't been given permission by some of the groups to work in those areas. So we have privileged access, to be honest, in some of the areas, and what we're trying to do is use these, what we call food vouchers. We're identifying very needy families in those areas. We're giving them, it's almost like a kind of a voucher or a check that they can cash in with local traders. And we're getting the local traders to bring the food in from different areas. And some of that is being shipped in from Asia, and they're bringing literally small quantities in terms of trucks, bringing it into those villages, and then people come along with those vouchers and hand over the vouchers, and they get sufficient supplies for about a month. And then the traders come back to us, and they can cash in. We give them the money for those vouchers itself.
Now, Paul, as you said, you are trying to get money into these regions so that people can get access to food. Concern, along with Midlands 103 and indeed 20 other local radio stations in Ireland, we're all taking part in a fundraising drive. What is the campaign all about? What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, we're hoping to raise around €250,000, €250,000. So we're asking every listener for €2. We ask them to donate by texting the word concern to 57802. So, and we will then be able to collect €2 from that text. It's a very efficient way for us to be able to do this. We have absolutely no administration on this way of raising money, and it's a great way of ensuring that literally every cent we get, we can then use in Somalia.
Paul, some people might be a little bit weary of hearing of other people in need when in Ireland we're in difficult financial circumstances ourselves. What would you say to people who might not consider donating the €2?
Well, we perfectly understand people's choice. We perfectly respect where people are at in Ireland. I suppose, speaking personally, I think bad and all as the situation is in Ireland, you cannot believe the situation in Somalia at the moment, particularly for parents who have children who have ever been in a situation where their children needed something and they haven't been able to provide. And essentially that's what we're dealing with literally on a massive scale on a daily basis, is parents coming into us with children with very little clothes on who look literally like those terrible photographs we've seen going back to the Ethiopian famine way back, and we're seeing that happening again. So it's not a like for like situation. We know Ireland is suffering, but gosh, I can really encourage the listeners that the situation in what we're seeing on the ground in Somalia, in Ethiopia and in Kenya is absolutely desperate.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for joining us on the line this morning, and perhaps you might remind us of that text number once again.
Yeah, it's a text to concern to 57802.